Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Minahan and her panel of guests bring you insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for soul growth. Come journey with us through astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
Hello again, Sue Minahan here for Talk Cosmos. And we are today celebrating a lot of good things. Well, celebrating because why not? That's really what life is. It's a matter of awakening to the moment on hand. And that's everything about Uranus as the modern ruler of Aquarius, going back to the fact that Pluto, its friend, is in Aquarius now to stay. And there's so many other aspects happening. As in our title, we are focused on the Sagittarius New Moon. That's pointing to the galactic center. That is going to a big point in the of our consciousness, we could say in many ways, plus the fact that the two inner planets, Mercury and Mars, are taking a turn to reflect and go backwards. We're going to look forwards and backwards at the same time. Times are shifting and we're keeping up with it. We're going to look at the whole view of this month, and that'll give you good ideas how to find those intentions, strategies, whatever else that pleases your plate or palette of life. All right, we are now ready for Kaleidoscope Visions. Thank you.
Understanding the cosmic energies influencing our consciousness by the 4 major moon phases for the month, this is your Kaleidoscope Visions panel.
I'm Sue Minahan, founder of Talk Cosmos since 2018. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, consultant, speaker, writer, vibrational astrology student, Dwarf Planet University graduate, Kepler Astrology Toastmasters Club charter member. I have a fine arts music degree plus a certificate in jazz. I'm an artist, musician, and certified color energy life coach. Especially, I love mythology and esoteric philosophies.
I'm Amanda Pierce. I'm a soul-centered astrologer, blending intuition into my practice. I believe the universe is always working for our highest good and seek to empower my clients in our readings. I teach a 4-week series of empowerment-based meditation classes that connect you deeper into your own intuition and innate power. I work in communications with a passion for employee experience. I also have a BA in psychology. I'm passionate about healing and enjoy helping others create new realities and shift old paradigms.
And I'm John Chinworth, a Seattle astrologer with more than 25 years experience. I use a blend of evolutionary, traditional, and archetypal techniques and constantly attend workshops and lectures to further hone my skills. I hold an MFA in poetics, an MA in teaching, and an astrological diploma. I've lectured at NORWAC and served on the WSAA board. I have worked in general and special education classrooms, both as a teacher and mentor. I also enjoy reading, penning poems, riding a bike, and going on road trips around the great state of Washington.
And like the Sufi poet Rumi says, you are the entire ocean in a drop. Hello, Amanda. Hello, John. It's good to get together.
Good to see you both again.
We are. Yeah, I know. You've been on every week.
I'm always here.
And it's a treat. It's a good treat. Sagittarius. You are a Sagittarius, as a matter of fact. So happy birthday.
Thank you. Coming up. Yikes.
Yes, indeed. It's a glad time, right? We're recreating. Here we go. It is 4 phases that we're looking at. The Sagittarius will be on the 1st, coming up in a week. Then it'll be on the 8th for the first quarter in Pisces. The full moon is in Gemini. Always it's opposite, and that's on the 15th, right smack dab in the middle of the month. And the 3rd quarter is Christmas Eve, when we know, but it's in Libra, time of relationships, and it's an action. And we're always in action when it comes to Christmas, at least as far as that holiday goes, for those that observe it. And it's a big theme around the world, actually. Any thoughts, or should we lead on?
Okay. I'll just say that the first 3 phases are the moon is mutable in all of them, and so mutable. The mutable energy it's very flexible, it's adjustable, but sometimes
can be overly compensating and not necessarily hold its ground, or it's hard to get started with things. So the third quarter, we've got that cardinal energy in where we really get to start initiating more.
It is. I love this cycle of energy because it comes from the fixed, and the fixed was where it was set. So of course we have to kind of break down a little bit in order to keep moving forward. Good. And it's an adventurous. Let's talk about the themes of it. We will in a moment. It is a clock. Remember, the moon and the sun, the luminaries, as we call them, are what motivates this whole moon cycle. The moon, however, just reflects that sun's light because the sun is a star. It's a gas, hydrogen and helium, and it emits, thankfully, for many years yet to come. Whereas the moon is always dark on one side as it rotates amazingly around our globe.
I'd like to note that the most interesting thing about our star and our moon is they're arranged in such a way that they're almost the same size. So we get these really magical eclipses and things. So maybe that's why our astrology developed in such a way that we equate the moon, which is much smaller than our sun, but from Earth, they look the same.
That number 108 is, you can research, and it's used again and again. And then it's even said that there's 108 in so many other ways. Like around a baseball, there's 108 stitches. It's like, what? That's hard to conceive why or how, but there is that distance of like either the space is two there or it's that dimension. And because you triggered here, my thinking is that, interestingly, if we were to consider time, if we look way in the past, there'll be at odds or way in the future. So this is a precious time we have that we are all incarnated. Yes. I love that. Here's a beautiful cycle imagery of the four, starting there on the right with the new moon and the date, and then going progressively around.
That's a very happy sun.
Yeah, it is beaming. It's true. It's
shining its lights.
Yeah, 9 degrees Sag. And we'll talk about each of these as we go into them. But December 8th is 17 degrees Pisces for the first. December 15th is 23 degrees Gemini for the new. And then for the third quarter closing before we start the next in Capricorn, it's going to be the 22nd. Did I say the 24th somewhere? I did. It's not going to be New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. It's the 22nd. My boo-boo. Thank you. It's good to check and balance. Always check and balance. Here, look at these closer if you get a chance to review, or if you are in that, you can get more information. But just to show you that the new moon is a seed point, and this one's being ruled by Jupiter. First quarter is crisis in action, waxing moon. John, do you want to make any comments?
Keep going. It's great.
Okay. It's still guiding ruler in Jupiter. And of course, that's the modern would be Neptune. The full moon on December 15th is illuminating and culminating and releasing. That's to find the best that it's culminated in, and that isn't working and blossoming, off and get your plan for the next half. And Mercury, which is retrograde, is supporting that by reviewing and looking and going backwards and forwards, such as this is a natural process of life reflected in the cosmos.
Can I say something about the mutable signs building into that Libra third quarter? What Amanda was talking about? I wonder, because it's a growing cycle and they're all mutable signs, we may see that mutability get gradually stronger and a little more crazy, and then maybe we'll land in Libra and then we'll feel more balanced. Because as the moon waxes, and those energies will also wax.
I particularly remembering that the solstice is 0 degrees Capricorn, a world point, cardinal point, and Capricorn is very much about contracting, whereas Jupiter is all this expansion. So yes, I like I agree with your projection there. We end on another quarter moon, but instead of crisis in action, it's crisis in consciousness, waning, the light's decreasing. December 22nd, remember I stand corrected. And that's at the early degrees. These are so much like the same degrees as last year. They stay in one cycle for about 6 months. So it's going to be 1.5 degrees Libra. And it's Venus, beautiful Venus. Shall we talk about the Mercury retrograde that's impending in a few days? Tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
Tomorrow.
Well, retrogrades are always an opportunity to go inward and to kind of rethink and reevaluate how you've been doing things and how things are working in your life. And so Mercury is going to retrograde over these degrees, back up over these degrees that we've already been going over and in the pre-shadow period. So starting November 7th, this past period, we're going to have some time to kind of rethink how we've been doing things, how we've been communicating, how we've been thinking about things, that type of stuff.
If you're a creative,
too.
If you're a creative, it's a really good time to go over whatever you're working on. If it's writing, great time to edit, to just to reevaluate what you're doing, and your mind will work in a different way, and you'll see things you didn't see before. So by the time Mercury goes back to being direct again, you'll have you're actually maybe a new work of art, or a different way of looking at the art that you're working on.
Yeah, it will end January 2nd for the whole third shadow time, because it goes direct on the 15th, right on the full moon, which will be most interesting, Gemini New Moon. And this period from November 7th, right after the United States elections, is quite a intense time for many people, pro or con. I imagine in many, and then Pluto, what I'm getting at is relationships, because Pluto going into Aquarius. I know for myself, I finally decided that I will expand and go into keep KKNW always, that's home front, homebound, but expand into Kmart, which is down in Los Angeles, in the Palm Springs area. It won't begin here. And I get a yay here from our soundboard person. Yippee. I'm excited now too. And it'll start with archetypal symbols, which is getting recorded. However, of course, they go back and I'll have news. So hopefully people will be listening to this to get an overview. It's exciting times. And there's more. I'll stop there. We have a show to do. But interestingly, Mercury and Jupiter, of course, are in mutual reception. Mercury in Sagittarius, Jupiter in Gemini, and they're opposing each other. So they're really in this huge dialogue, debating, negotiating, talking up a storm, because that's what they do.
It's like the teacher and the student have switched roles. The teacher has things to learn, and the student can teach things, which is a really unique way to look at education. As a teacher myself, sometimes you learn a lot from your students. A lot of the time you do.
Amanda?
Yeah. And anytime a planet touches Jupiter or Venus, the two benefics, it can bring good things in. So even though it's an opposition, which can be seen as a difficult aspect, it's Jupiter. So this can be really beneficial for how this Mercury retrograde period goes for us.
Yes, because we have, guess what? This is the next big deal. We have Mars coming up retrograde. Now, that is a long retrograde, and it's only every couple of years that it happens. So it's a major deal when Mars decides that we're used in whatever sign it's in going forward, and all of a sudden it says, let's do the business. Let's rethink, reassess, and all that stuff. If you're already working on something, it's a good time to go forward. I know, too, I was given advice. I was saying, aren't you going to write a book? And I was like, well, yeah, but that was like maybe many times forward. They said, well, get a coach. I thought, okay, we'll review that. But here,
the different way to think about it.
Yeah. So here, it started in October. That's a month ago, long time, October 5th. That was a pre-shadow. It was at 17 degrees Cancer. And as of December 6th, it goes retrograde exactly on the United States North Node at 6 degrees Leo. Mm-hmm. And then it goes direct. It'll stay there. And meanwhile, it'll go into Cancer again. So it's between Leo and Cancer, but that won't be until February, late February. And then the entire path ends May 2nd. So we're really looking at a good 7 months here, as usual, of looking at in Cancer what keeps us safe, what's secure, and then how to rise to be that manifested self. It's quite a juggle.
And you'll see Mars going from a sign that it's okay in Leo, I get to be the general of the army, into Cancer, which is where Mars is in its fall, and it's going to feel like, what do I do with this emotional energy?
Is this safe?
That will come up.
Plus, Mars is in this opposition with Pluto. Pluto was in Capricorn, so now we have a new script. It's in Aquarius. Aquarius is looking at community, and community. I often think, well, it's me and community, but no, it can be this community versus that, working with another community, or yourself. As I find myself working with a community that's working with another community. It's expansive, but it's networking. So coming to the grounding from that, my best suggestion, which I'm finding others suggest and that we might see in the chart, is to go close to home, network and connect with those people that are close to your heart and your like-minded thinking, build from there and keep reaching as it goes. Well, we've spent more time on this, but it seems like it's so important. Out of bound is still when these planets are outside the sun's path and the archetype is independently acting out. And we have Venus for the Sagittarius New Moon, and we have the moon for both the new moon and the full moon. Then Ceres, the dwarf planet of nurturing and grief, has been out of bounds and will continue since April and January. So it's been intense as far as feeling grief, wanting to nurture, nurturing ourselves, nurturing others, etc. What a story. Values and okay.
We're living in quite a time. Lots of big energies.
They are. Lots to draw from. Yes, that's the good news. It helps me to connect with other people. I don't go down my rabbit hole of doom and gloom. It's like, nope, that's boring. Let's look outside, up, and on the ground.
Yeah. So
it's 10 degrees Sagittarius Sabian symbol. That's for this new moon. It's always rounded off to the next degree, although people sometimes stay with the same degree, but we're doing the rounded off version, which many do, I'd say. Theatrical representation of a golden-haired goddess of opportunity. So it's about growth, but forced growth in the sense that we dramatize what's great for the person that wants to move ahead, that's assertive.
I always think in this Sabian symbol, there's a little bit of jealousy or envy and worried about your prized possessions. There's also like an intensified dreaming of reward. It's a kind of a selfish little Sabian symbol.
Well,
look at me kind of vibe, you know?
Yeah.
To me, this is like a really wanting to strive for this opportunity that maybe you have rose-colored glasses on a little bit. The grass is always greener, right? Like it's just really built up. And with this sun and moon and Sagittarius, like it wants to just go and be jubilant and take action and get really excited about things. So that's the energy of the sun and moon. And then it's square Saturn. So Saturn's like, hold on right now.
Well, let's go with just the Sabian, right, for that, if we can. Sure. I like in a sense, but because if we look at, and I didn't print this all up, is a golden hair goddess of opportunity. So I think somehow that perhaps it is still looking at the abundance that's possible, but it might be something that's, because it's, like it says, social and cultural, that it is more dramatized and maybe input from, if propaganda, that's things.
Well,
but it is gross, however you look at it.
The first thing it says is theatrical, so it's like a big show being put on, right?
Yeah,
and maybe so people could be distracted. So just be careful what you're looking at. Like Amanda said, the rose-colored glasses, exactly.
Oh, okay. Well, then
Right.
let's see what the chart says. Okay, got it. Now we can talk. Go, please. Well, you were talking about, yes, square Saturn right there.
Yeah. So, yeah, that beautiful big Sag energy getting kind of quashed by Saturn a little bit and being stopped. And Saturn's really asking us to take a more mature approach in how we move forward. And Sag can be kind of brash and impulsive sometimes. So Saturn's saying, slow down and let's act with integrity. Because this is a new moon, so it's all brand new energy, and we're operating on instinct quite a bit here.
I like that. Yes. Remember, look here too. There is a T-square with Saturn, actually, because it is squaring, applying, because Jupiter is retrograde, coming into perfect its square with Saturn. And that goes back progressively through the month. We'll see it get closer and closer. That is the second time that the first square from December 20th, 2020, the grand conjunction, remember, where every 20 years, but this time it entered into air. So we're in this huge other cycle. And this is the first square that we're experiencing. It'll be 3 times. I think it was back in the spring. It's retrograde now, and then later in 2025, it'll be direct again. But that's also part of this squishing, I think. You're right. Saturn's telling us emotionally, and moon and ego, sun, pause.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to bring up, that initial Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that we had in Aquarius. And there was a lot of energy around kind of creating our dreams and putting structure around it. And here, when we've got a square we're like up against something, and we're kind of being stopped a little bit and asked to kind of rethink it and redo it. And we've got Jupiter retrograde at this point as well. So
yes,
we're doing the re stuff.
Yeah, it's a delay process. John, something before we go on to the next?
Oh, no.
Okay.
That's great.
Well, there's also flowing and connecting energies. A grand trine, I learned, and I keep repeating this, through vibrational astrology, which looks through umpteen thousands of charts, says that trines, yes, they flow, but they have to flow. It's like the river that won't stop. It can't stop, and it'll do anything to keep flowing, which isn't always a nice thing to remember. And this is in fire. But so in other words, it has many dimensions. That's all I'm sharing. And this is the sun, moon, Mars, which is really stationed, about to retrograde the next day. I think the next day. No, it's at 5 degrees. That's right. The next week.
And on that north node, so I think of the north node as this little soul whisper of a direction you should be going, like, try this, and in Aries it's saying, let's up the individualism here just a little bit. You got Mars backing you up, you got the sun and the moon, so the gentle movement towards what your soul wants to do in this lifetime.
Oh, the visions.
Makes sense.
Yes, the visions. Amanda?
I love that. Yeah. I mean, a grand trine is it's a closed circuit of flowing energy. And so it just keeps going round and round and round and round. And with fire, that can often be just a lot of action and passion. But we don't want to burn up and burn out with it. And so I really like Saturn here for that.
Yes.
For bringing in that square, let's like ground it a little bit so that we can actually manifest something out here into the external. And so if you get stopped during this period, like look at how that might be a positive for you. Maybe this is a good thing that it's coming.
It's a blend. Yes, it is. Folks, remember, if you look at the first one where it has all the aspects, because Saturn's doing, as many of these planets, various action and then moving forward. There's always this mini trine too. Yep. If you see there at the
just gonna say,
go ahead, because this, remember, folks, is an Aries chart. Don't look at the houses. It's a Aries chart. Mm-hmm.
We have all these planets in this creative mini trine. That's where you have planets in sextile 60 degrees from each other, then 120 degrees in a trine. They're working together creatively, saying, create all of these things. You got a lot of goddess energy. You got Venus and Ceres, and they're with Pluto, so that adds the intensity. But at the top of this triangle is Neptune, not far from the North Node. So the dream is paramount.
Yeah.
What dream are you creating, or what's in the back of your mind that you want to bring forward? It's actually very nice, right?
And we'll see it throughout the next. I don't know if we have time, but we're going to try. Oh, there's a point of Thales. And thanks to my great team members here, they said, let's tell people a little bit. It's sacred geometry, folks. It's constructive. It has to have that opposition. But another planet is both sextile, which is connecting, and a trine, which is flowing. So let's look. We have two of them in this one. In fact, so in other ones, we have Mars. You can always see at the 90 degrees, which it is. We have Mars and Jupiter that are the big operators. Mars is trying to work between our directions of self and our relationships. And Jupiter is working between what's healing us, that's got to be included or else was excluded, with what our hearth of our altar is.
And you have the Chiron Eris thing that continues to go on.
Yeah, inclusion.
Chiron, that wound, and Eris like, you need to do something about this. Do not ignore this wound anymore. Do something to help it heal and feel better.
Okay. Now we could go ahead, Amanda, and we'll take our little break.
Yeah, I love Jupiter sextile Chiron here, and I love Mercury trine Chiron. There's a lot of potential healing going around. And so, we'll see how this week goes, but around communication, around...
Maybe the key for healing is to be inclusive. It's so easy to feel that one is excluded, and that's part of the wound. But by including, which Eris is, she was all about everybody, because coming to the party at the Judgment of Paris with the golden apple, it was like she had been not included. So she included herself. And it might be uncomfortable, but where is it uncomfortable? If we are the common denominator making it uncomfortable, then there's something about it that maybe we need to include and accept. I know this is coming home for me. We will be right back, folks. Continuing on, we have the first quarter, the full moon, and the third, and more. We'll be back. While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the Yang period of Sagittarius, ruled by the largest of all planets, Jupiter, the Roman god, or Zeus by the ancient Greeks. By leaving a cycle based on power and powerlessness of life and death and regeneration, involving committed relationships, Sagittarius energy finds meaning for an expanded perspective and potential for actualization in their search for truth. As a mutable fire sign depicted by the centaur, Sagittarius is adventurous and seeks the beyond. Sagittarius travels to far places, physically and mentally, to find the truths of life.
This is Martha Norwalk, every Sunday morning beginning at 9 a.m. Thanks in part to Linda Rasmussen at verticalenergyworldwide.com, we cover the world of animals. This week, it's Shelter Rescue Sanctuary and anything that helps our animal friends Sunday. We'll check in with Now.Cat Rescue, Help Animals India, Beth and Merritt Clifton from animals24-7.org. Plus, we'll find out what's going on at the Ananda Institute for Living Yoga. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Talk Cosmos brings insightful conversations to awaken consciousness for the soul growth with hour-long programs every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific on KKNW. Talk Cosmos weekly programs are also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. Or if you'd rather listen to the show archives with audio only, the entire podcast collection since 2018 is available on most podcast carriers. And to find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com. So grab your coffee, tea, or kombucha and enjoy the show.
Giving local voices a chance to shine. Alternative Talk 1150.
Well, hello. Okay, we're going to go. Well, let's see. I wanted to ask you guys how everything's doing. I think I was a little, how can I say, over exuberant, thinking I'd get this done in the first half, so I missed part of our stuff. But how is everything so far with you both?
Things are, I think, good. It's definitely energies have been intense, right? So it's just a matter of, it feels to me like just keeping going and keeping steady as much as possible.
Yeah, and making choices. I find I have to make a lot of choices. Yeah, John.
Similar kinds of energies, but a lot of having to take care of myself and my needs and what I need right now to kind of rejuvenate and feel better.
Yeah, lots of self-care. I find that really, really helpful right now.
Yeah. Yes. First quarter moon, December 8th, is going to be in the East Coast in the morning at 10:26 a.m. And that's 21 seconds after, if you want to be exact. And it's going to be at 17 degrees Pisces and 2 seconds. Yeah. I mean, it's really 17 degrees. And so, in other words, we're looking at 18 degrees Pisces, gigantic tent. Villagers witness a spectacular performance. The keynote.
There's another performance, Sabian symbol like that previous one. That's really interesting.
It is.
Putting on a show or going to see a show or the imagination running wild with creativity. I don't know. Also, the original use of theater was to express maybe what the community is thinking and what they need to work on. So maybe there's some of that going on.
It appears to be motivated by that it's appealing to the collective enjoyment of something because it shows some, interesting. Yes.
Yeah, it's I like, John, what you were saying about it being kind of theatrical because it really plays well with that moon in Pisces, like really seeing the spectacle of it and getting kind of entranced by it.
Those Sabian symbols, that set of them came out in late 20s, 30s when there was a revivalist movement, right? When there were traveling revivalist religious groups going around the country. So there might be an element of that in there.
They've been interpreted many, many times. I know archetypal symbols. We do this a great deal. And whether it's Dan Ruchar or Linda Hill, etc., there's many ways to look at them. Crisis in action. It's a waxing. The light is coming out. It's that first quarter moon. You'll see the moon in the sky looking like a half. It's half. And for action, we still overall have this Mars opposite Pluto, and there's a couple of T-squares with Jupiter. So it's really back to the same themes and that in this time, though, the moon is moving up closer to Neptune. So it's...
Yeah, and this sweet Pisces moon, super sensitive, romantic, gentle, compassionate, conjunct Saturn. Which is like, poor baby. That's hard. It's hard energy, that moon Saturn quality. It's it can feel like being held to a high standard when really all you want to do is dream And yeah. And
that could be the antidote, because there is, again, vibrational astrology says that when they're connected, it's spiritual. It might be that constraint is really on a mundane level, and by broadening our perspective. John, I think you have a thought here burgeoning.
I do a little bit. My poor brain. So I think of the cycle, like the new moon is the seed that's planted, and the first quarter moon, well, the sprout is up, and is the plant going to make it or not? Is it going to survive all the hard things that a new plant has to survive out in nature? And it's in kind of a dreamland now. So,
but look at the strategists. We have Pallas Athena at the top and Capricorn being very level-headed. And looking at that Saturn that's connected with the moon and the dreams and the spiritual, going, how do I fit? What fits with me, my values? And again, we have, because everything is synergetic here, I think we're in a liminal time between the new moon and the full moon, because Venus of our values is out of bounds. No, it's Ceres out of bounds. Anyway, she's connected. Remember, we have Pluto they're all three within just the same doorway, 0 degrees or 1 degree of Aquarius. And they're
soon that North Node will go over those Pisces planets, like kind of like a pull, like your karmic journey. So do these things. So that's another strengthening factor for our little plant that wants to grow.
Well, January 12th, January 12th. Right there, or the next week is when it will be going across.
Yeah, it's coming.
Thanks for that.
It's slow.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not Saturn.
Saturn's like really saying, like, let's get real here. Let's. It wants to hold us kind of to that mature position that we kind of were starting to work with in the previous week as well. And if you look at it through that lens, it'll make this a lot easier to get through, like whatever's coming forward, what are challenges, these are opportunities for growth. And sometimes, when people act badly, like there are many people that act like children. And so it's a matter of, do you want to react like the child to them, or can you step back and be that spiritual adult?
I'm so grateful for you, Amanda. I feel like the student here going, yes, ma'am. I'll make this remembered. Okay, let's go to the next. We have here, because we have quite a bit, the connecting flowing, and there's that, well, it's not a grand trine. It wants to be big, but it's not. It's really Mars in a trine to particularly, well, both the sun, but particularly Mercury. Both the retrogrades are like, let's work this out. Let's get some new patterns going, kind of what you're thinking about. Maybe we should stop and think about why Saturn is wanting us to figure out new relationships,
Saturn trine Juno up there in the upper right. That's really kind of lovely for Saturn to think of fidelity and doing the right thing, which is what Juno wants all the time.
Oh, I love these words, fidelity.
Having really good judgment about what you're going to do. And not being,
in other words, don't throw out the baby with the baby water.
Yeah.
Don't throw out the baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep that
now
baby.
Now, we do have, interestingly, a mystic triangle and a mini trine. Once again, we still have that mini trine. It's always something to remember and to just ground into, especially as you mentioned. It may be slow, but the North Node's moving because it goes backwards. It will move towards that whole 0 degrees, 1 degree Aquarius up there, which is action with how we're networking, how we're changing, how to find stability through all this stuff.
The mystic rectangle, to me, when I tell clients, it's you can see it in the sky. It's a brick. It's a building block, and it's made of these really easy, beautiful aspects. And I always ask them, what do you gently want to build that helps your karmic journey or your spirit right now?
Oh, such great words. A gentle building block. Oh my God.
Yes, because of those
Love that.
aspects. You're not like running
love
all over
that.
people, building your castle. You're like, what works now and what can easily be built doesn't
That
harm
and
others.
fidelity are going to be emboldened in words right across my table here.
Can we also talk about that Venus-Pluto conjunction?
Go ahead.
Venus
I'm afraid
is...
to. Just kidding.
This is a big one, right? I mean, Venus has just moved into Aquarius. So it's out of Capricorn, where it's done a lot of hard work, entering into like a new stage of freedom. And it comes up right away against Pluto. And so it's almost like it's going through this process of purging. It goes down into Hades, into the underworld with Pluto to die. Part of it is dying, the part that needs to die so that it can be reborn anew in this Aquarian energy, in this new Aquarian era that we're in with Pluto and Aquarius. So any areas like we're purging like the establishment from us, any established viewpoints that don't sit with us well anymore, that we need to let go, can come from family, from society, even from your friends, like that kind of stuff.
External constraints that don't align with how perhaps our individual views are. Yes, exactly.
Our values and our self-worth. That's Venus, right?
She's going down to the underworld to meet Pluto, and who's there but Ceres, probably trying to get Persephone back. So these two goddesses down there, like, what's going on?
Well, it's a family affair if you think about it, because they're brother and sister, Pluto and Ceres, and it is
those Olympians.
I think transforming how to find nurturing. Grief is, if not in our country, you look at the wars that are happening and all the political stuff that, of course, with the news as it is, we get more and more and you wonder. But on any level, there's so much grief that that all about Ceres is a matter of transforming into how do we sustain that nurturing? Because she taught agriculture. How do you feed yourself and sustain it? So we each have that ability to figure out, not to transform somebody to be them, make them immortal. Just how do we help another person help themselves and help ourselves?
Help them through their grieving processes, because there's a lot of people in pain right now. And Aquarius is the public sign. It represents all of us, which Venus loves being there. She's like, I can do things for the common good. And I think this is actually very beautiful. But we have to be willing to listen and hold space for people who are processing things out.
Yeah. And let go of our own stuff too, and like allow that death process to happen so that we can really fully feel that empowerment of Venus in our lives.
Interestingly, that might be part of Mars because Mars is right here at our 6-degree USA North Node. And it is the natural thing with Leo is to manifest and become an identity, become a manifested product or children. But whatever creative process, it's your pleasure. And it is, again, tricky to take that approach where you can be of substance and allow somebody else. Very good. Let's go on. Now, this was, which I would have brought up, but just a few little takes. I'll go back. You can find Amanda I'll go ahead. My videos, I have, go to YouTube. My YouTube, I have a playlist. I'm with Liz's Astrology Star Sisters, Talk Over Tea. We are coming up with a new one. We haven't quite yet. Just to let people know, next week will be archetypal symbols focused on the Sagittarius New Moon itself. This is giving a wonderful overview. Last week was about the Chiron retrograde, the second one. And if you want to check the first one, you can look at this. It was April 21st for the United States. And more important, we're having all these 0 degrees ingresses that are really helping to create the new consciousness. Amanda Pierce is at Amanda Moon Astrology at gmail.com. And John is Sky Path Astro, and that's Archer Stars at gmail.com. And I'm Sue Minahan at Talk Cosmos. we'll jump into the full moon. That is on the 15th of the month in the morning, East Coast at 4:01 in the morning, 25 seconds.
Well, I love the full moon because we finally get to this illumination point in this cycle where we get a new perspective. We see all the information that's here coming forward for us. So now we can make really informed decisions.
The moon will be out of bounds. It's going to be really quite communicative. It's exciting. And in that, with Jupiter, where in the heck is Jupiter?
Yeah, moon in Gemini, big communication, conjunct Jupiter. That's a really positive aspect here. I really like it.
It is. The Sabian is children skating over a frozen village pond. Interestingly, this is using what's inhibited to develop and transcend into the environment. The other was, hey, I'm on stage and this is moving forward. This is more a triumph over entropy, as it's said. Many ways to look at it, but it's a transcendence of existence. That kind of goes along with what you were just saying, I think. John?
I like the playfulness of the Sabian symbol, the variation of the figures of the kids changing, and the capriciousness of it. So there's a playfulness to it, which I think is really nice.
And it feels very airy. Like there's the frozen village pond. Like that's water. It's like frozen water, and you're staying on top of it. You're not like falling deep into the emotions and staying with that playfulness.
I have a song for that Sabian symbol and for that chart. Do you know True Colors by Cyndi Lauper?
Yes, True Colors. Yes. That's good. I can't sing it, but yes,
through.
It is. So remember, it is illuminating, culminating, releasing a full moon. It's in Gemini, which is duality of and it's also the psychopomp going between spirit and matter, and it's retrograde. You're going to be rethinking things, negotiating. So here we have, again, some strategists with Athena, who is the mental, came from Zeus, from his head. It's mental strategy, like war, but on a mental process. Not just war, but causes.
And planning things out. She's the great planner. She's going to go to war, but she's going to have the whole thing laid out, or whatever the goal is. She's going to have everything lined up so it goes smoothly. That's what I think of Pallas Athena. And she rules computers. It's kind of interesting.
It is. And I think more importantly here, too, is that square between Jupiter and Saturn is now just a couple of degrees as Jupiter retrograde. So it's coming, and I didn't check to find out exactly when it was, but this is another phasal, like a first, well, this is a full moon, but that's a phasal thing. Any thoughts, or shall we?
Moon is square Neptune as well here. So there can be like more sensitivity. It can be like a psychically sensitive time. So it's also the full moon period. So any illusions you had around what's come up this month are starting to dissolve with this Neptune influence, which can be painful, but also like it's freedom to have the truth. So we want to invite that truth forward for ourselves.
Thank you for bringing that point up. It is so true. Neptune does want, through all the charades of illusion, what is true, universe.
Having, go back to that previous chart, Chiron and Eris opposite Vesta, now that thing that you're working on, the ongoing painful thing that you're working on, finally giving voice to, is going to become a little bit sacred and to be held in great esteem.
Oh, how
beautiful.
Empowering.
Yeah.
Well, here we have quite a few there is that grand trine that we've had, but this time it's still in fire. It's with Mercury, our thoughts and our actions. They're both along with the same fire energy of going forward with our visions.
And Mercury is stationed direct in this chart. So it's starting that forward moving process. So all the lessons that we've gathered during that retrograde process about how to do things a little bit differently, there's a lot of potential.
Stationed retrograde. I don't know but it's close. It's real close to direct. Yeah.
Right. Okay. It's making that shift. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which means the planet's at its slowest.
Yeah. So it's deep. It's hitting you.
You're right. So this is then this is a deepening.
The brakes are really on. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a deepening, and you're getting that more information from Mars and the North Node as well about how to move forward.
As we move forward, we have the final quarter. It's called the third quarter, the last quarter moon or phase. And it's on December 22nd, not Christmas Eve. And it's in the evening. It's at 5:17:55 p.m. It's almost 5:18 p.m. I think that's a 5, not a 6. Yeah, pardon. Washington, D.C. back. And it's 1 degree Libra. So we're going to look at the 2 degree, which I think is a beautiful one. It's creative centralization, but it says that it's this transmutation of fruits from all the past experiences into the seed of forever creative spirit. The idea that any seed takes embodied what the product is ahead and produces it. It's pretty beautiful.
It's powerful.
Promotion, leaping up. We know this now. We can take this leap to this level.
Yeah, there's all that mutability got us to some point of transfixation into, and look at that. Okay, we can see, maybe we can even talk about it here. There's this beautiful T-square that last moon, as it going into meeting up with that sun in Capricorn, because this is just past the solstice, the day after the solstice. So the sun is now at 1 degree Capricorn, and it's with the nodes. So we're releasing something about our partnerships. Our working with that value system has worked. So we're focused on, remember when we had Venus and Pluto, which Venus has now moved away. Venus is not with Ceres and Pluto anymore. Let's look and see, shall we?
Yeah, Venus is she trying Jupiter?
Well, that'll be the next one. Let's look. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we do have, maybe we should just, because we want to talk about our soup, and it is a mix. And you can see now they're just 1 degree still, Jupiter and Saturn. So we're working. It's the sun has moved into Capricorn. It's a solstice. It's powerful. And here we have still that mystic rectangle of opportunity and hope between Mars and that, but now it's Ceres. And so we've made some headway with our Venus. Let's look at this, shall we? We have 2 minutes. What is your soup recommendation for the month? How do you put all these cosmic energies? I think, Amanda, you're our cook here. What would you say?
Well, I'll just say I like this month in general. I feel like it's a bit lighter than what we've been dealing with. Like it's not without its challenges, but there's a lot of positive change possible coming up. And so my soup for the month is Tom Kha Kai, which is a Thai soup, a chicken soup in a coconut milk broth. And it's very light and bright and but also savory. So it's got a real positive, hopeful vibe to it.
You have a new fan. Oh, yummy. Yes, I like this. In fact, I've changed my soup because of this. Now, John, what's your soup?
Well, it came to me today, and we were talking about the therapeutic things going on with Chiron and Eris, and now Vesta. So we need a healthy soup to make you feel better. And the Mexicans have a soup called pozole, which is hominy, pork, and chilies, and it's often like a therapeutic soup, but it's good anyway. So that's my soup for the...
Love that. That sounds
great. Oh boy, decision. Here I go. What do I look at?
We're so international.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
instinctively first, oh, what sounds good? And then I think, what's in it? First was like a fish stew, but now I love this Greek soup where you put lemon in it. It's an extra tang with the rice and the chicken, avagave, or what's it called?
Love it.
Oh my goodness. I used to
Beautiful.
go to a Greek restaurant down on the Ave in Seattle years back, just to get that little soup. Well, folks, enjoy your soup and your month. Remember that. Yeah, and do listen to, well, we'll be on KMET next week. And on the 1st, actually, that's starting on the 3rd. It'll be on a Tuesday. But on the 1st, next week, we have about this new moon. Enjoy, and blessings. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining an insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Minahan and her panel of guests awaken consciousness by connecting soul growth patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.